stream, but I'm sitting now in a phone booth at Mountain now. So
nice. Is it like in space?
It's a big space, basically, or like an office space.
How many people total is at the event now?
Right now, not many. It's like 5 people because it's 9 a.m.
Hmm.
But in the afternoon, I'm bad at estimating people numbers, but it's, I don't know, maybe 40 people now these days. I mean, it's still the first week. I think it's generally fewer people at this time.
And it's usually around for like 2 or 3 weeks, or for how long?
It goes for the whole month of August.
Oh. Nice. All right, we do have some people joining now. We're at 9. I guess we should, yeah, we can wait probably for a few more minutes and kick things off.
Yeah.
Happening, so all good.
Okay.
How many audits have you guys done this year so far? I wonder.
I think like 25 or something.
Oh,
maybe 30.
All right, that's a lot. You guys are efficient at auditing.
I mean, we're a 3-people team. The beginning, I was alone. A lot of these audits are relatively small, so it's not like 25 4-week audits, right?
Yeah, of course.
A bunch of these audits were just updates, for example, like protocol has added some feature and they want the diff audited.
Yeah, makes sense.
So those audits are a bit smaller. Okay, finally managed to. I think I managed to get my screen working. It's a bit buggy.
You wanna try share the screen?
Yep. Second, figure this out. Okay. This. Command Shift F, I think. Yeah. All right. Share screen.
Nice.
Let me know if you see it.
Yep. Need designs, but you can see it all. Yeah, welcome everyone. And today we have a guest lecturer, Robert, or you may know him as r0bre on Twitter. And yeah, today he's going to share some of their experiences of finding some interesting bugs in Solana protocols recently. So yeah, feel free to introduce yourself, and the floor is yours, Robert.
Cool. Great. Thank you for the introduction. I'm not sure how long this will take. It could be much quicker than the 1.5 hours that we have scheduled. But just let's see. All right. So yeah, my name is Robert, or r0bre, or r0bre. I don't think there's a correct pronunciation for nicknames sometimes. I'm the founder of Accretion. And yeah, I want to talk to you about some advanced Solana bugs. So briefly about myself. Yeah, you might know me as r0bre. That's my PFP on Twitter. And you might know me from my 100 days of Solana tips. I think that's where a lot of people might recognize me from. Yeah, I have like 3 years of Solana auditing experience. Previously, I was at Neodyme, and before crypto, I was like doing regular security research, hardware research, and embedded security and so on. Yeah, that's just about it. So this year I launched Accretion. We're a relatively small boutique security auditing company, and we're like 100% focused on Solana only. Yeah, and our goal is basically to be the best Solana auditors that you can find, and we try to like not do anything else except Solana. We mostly post about audits and security, Solana security research on X. So if that's interesting to you, give us a follow. And also, as this is a bootcamp for aspiring auditors, we're hiring. So if you're think you're a talented Solana auditor, reach out to me. At the moment, I'm mostly looking for more experienced people. So ideally, you might have like a bit more experience, either with Solana already, or with some other chains, and you switch to Solana, and you can like show that you already know your way around blockchains. And we might open up our hiring to more beginners, like in a couple months or next year or something. But at the moment, we're at the stage where we want to hire mostly experienced people.
Sorry, I just want to bring something up. We do have a job board inside the Slack. You do have access to it also. We should definitely coordinate right after this meeting, like a short job position. If you guys are hiring now, we can coordinate that and bring some interesting people from the bootcamp.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. So yeah, I mean, sorry for my slides. They're a bit ugly sometimes because I'm not a designer. I'm an auditor. Except the design of the slides overall, I think it's nice, but whatever. So you might be familiar with like these common Solana bugs that you learn very quickly as a dev or as a beginner auditor, and you should be familiar with those. And obviously, those are like the most common mistakes that you'll find in Solana programs. That includes like signer checks, missing signer checks, missing ownership checks, like classic denial of services where someone uses systemic programs create account, or the common ATA init instead of init if needed, often leads to like a very easy DOS. Arbitrary CPI calls, also often very straightforward bug, or like math errors like overflows, rounding bugs, or just bad math or wrong math. And as well, I put like state transitions into that category, like unclearly defined state transitions where you have like in between states, or like it's the state transition is defined as one in one part of the code and as a different one in a different part of the code, because there's maybe a larger than here and a larger than equals in a different part. Yeah, so those are like pretty common bugs, and those are like your bread and butter as an auditor. And I think like the anchor C-level attacks, they fall like into the same category. It's all very basic, very well known nowadays. But I think, yeah, if you're an auditor, you should go a step further. So even though those are like your bread and butter, if those are the only bugs you find, then in my opinion, you're like barely auditing. You're like might be replaced by AI at some point, because AI is very good at pattern matching. And yeah, auditing is more about understanding the code very deeply and understanding the environment that the code runs in, and just finding the small cracks in the code where like something might slip into. So yeah, that's kind of the introduction here. And from here on, I will just show you 6 bugs that I've prepared. Those 6 bugs, I have a code snippet for each of them. Each code snippet is like custom generated, AI generated. for this presentation. So it's not taken from real projects, but it's just showing ideas of bugs. So it's a bit of pseudocode, so don't take it too precisely. Yeah, and I don't know, bear with me because sometimes maybe the code is too small. Please let me know if it's too small. I don't know how to zoom, honestly. Here's bug number 1. Please, can you some feedback if it's readable?
Yeah, it is readable. It's all good.
All right, great. Okay, so here we have like a betting market. It has like 2 accounts, a market and a market bet. So a market here might be someone betting on some real world outcome, similar, I guess, to poly market or whatever. Let's say betting on Trump election winning or losing. And the market bet is someone's position in that market. And the thing here is once a market is over, after a certain period of time, the market can be closed. And as this function is defined, the creation of the market is at a certain seed. I'm not sure how I want to do this, if people want to try to find the bugs themselves, or I just like explain it to people, but I think online it's kind of difficult to do this back and forth, so I guess I'll just give you a minute and then just explain the bug.
Yeah, I think it's good to make these hunts live and just give a minute to let people quickly.
Yeah. All right.
Mike, Ahmed, do you guys have ideas? You guys are one of the most active usually in spotting bugs live. No pressure though.
Maybe I haven't read the book, but the code, but maybe if a market is closed, can the user withdraw the bet if there is a typical live bet? That's just an idea where I can look for a bug. But let me read the code.
I'll wait for 10 seconds. We're on schedule. All right. I think Mike was on a very good track here. So the idea here is when a market is closed, there might still exist some market bets for that market that maybe weren't settled. Obviously, this code isn't complete, but like just leave it to imagination. Like if you have a market bet and the market finishes, or like is decided, you probably will settle your bet and like get your winnings out of it. But if you don't, you just don't do it, your account might still exist, and at some point the market might be closable and be closed, and then your bet will have still a reference to that original market that it was created for, and kind of you have a dangling pointer. So that's kind of the transition here. So in the beginning, you have the market and market bet for this market. Here in this example, we're betting on Trump wins. And at some point, the market is settled, but the bet still exists. What the market creator can do is to delete the market or close the market, and then just recreate the same, or not the same market, but the market at the same address, with a different bet, or like a bit different decision, or whatever it's called. So in this case, instead of Trump wins, suddenly the market is about Ferrari winning in Formula 1 this weekend. And we might know that Ferrari never wins in Formula One these days. So in this case, the bet that was originally for a winning market, so like buying into Trump wins, is now a buy into Ferrari wins. So it turned the bet upside down. And if this bet is settled now, it will just basically get the opposite outcome. And essentially the root cause here is having like this closing an account while a pointer to that account exists, and then reopening a new account. This is a quite common pattern in Solana programs that allow you to close accounts. And one of the most sketchy instances of this, in my opinion, is token 22, because token 22 has a closable mint extension, which allows you to close a mint if the supply is 0. But supply being 0 does not mean that there are no token accounts for that mint. So what you could do is create a mint with a closable mint extension, create a couple token accounts, for example, ATAs or whatever, or just regular token accounts, and then close the mint. Like, you never put any tokens into the token accounts. You close the mint, and now you have token accounts that have a pointer to a mint, and that mint doesn't exist. It's a closed account. And now you could like deploy any, like you could, the system key at which the mint originally existed can now be used to deploy, for example, even something else. Like you could deploy a program there. You could assign that account to a completely different program. You could assign it to the normal token program, not to the token 22 program, and make it a mint. You could make it a token account. And then you have token accounts which has a mint that's pointing to a token account. So that's like just super weird, and sometimes it leads to some weird bugs. All right, so that was bug number 1. Here we have bug number 2. Here we take 2 accounts into this program in this instruction, and one is a vote account and one is a config account. The config account is like a PDA of this program. The vote account here is passed as an unchecked account, but there is one check in the program logic. And this check checks that the program owner of this vote account is indeed the Solana vote program. And if it is the Solana vote program, then we save the address of this vote account inside of our config. And yeah, as you might know, or yeah, there's only one account type that the Solana vote program has, and that's vote account. So we can know, okay, if it belongs to the Solana vote program, then it should be a vote account. But where's the issue here? Is this check enough to store this account for later usage, basically? Let's think about this for a minute. If vote account and config are the same, then this will fail because config belongs to this vulnerable program, and vote account has to belong to the vote program. So this check will fail. Okay. No discriminator check. No, there's only one account type that exists in the Solana vote program. I'm not even sure if they have discriminators. Sometimes these native Solana programs don't have, like the token program doesn't have discriminators, for example. Owner could have been changed and Okay, so anyone can create an account and transfer ownership, but then the data has to be zeroed out. Okay, I think you're on the right path. So what the people are saying, we can create this vote account, allocate some data to it, assign it to the vote program, but not call initialize in the vote program. It will just be an empty account that belongs to the vote program. That just contains all zeros. I think that's a very good idea. Can we take this one step further? Vote program is just like the program that manages validator votes or stake. So it's not important. It could be any program. Change it when it's assigned. Okay, so okay, I think you're all a bit off. I'll just explain where we're going with this. So the idea that we can assign the vote, like any account, to the vote program, and it has zero data, was the correct idea. But one step further is that when we assign this account to the vote program, we don't put any lamp ports into this account. So we create an account and assign it to the vote program with 0 lamp ports. And what happens in this scenario is that when we put this into one transaction and do this assignment of account A to the vote program, and then in the same transaction we do another instruction where we call this vulnerable program and do this set vote account instruction, which saves this account in the config. What the second instruction sees is this account A belongs to the vote program, has no data, has no lamp ports, but it doesn't look at that anyways. Saves this in the config, and then as soon as this transaction ends, the runtime looks at all the accounts involved and sees, oh, we have an account that has 0 lamp ports, but it should pay rent because it has not a system owner. So we're going to delete this account again. And at the end of the transaction, this account will be reset and will basically have the same state as at the beginning. It will be owned by the system, has 0 lamp ports, and now it will be inside this config. Yeah, this was a real bug inside like a protocol that launched at like a 20 million TVL. And yeah, it's like a temporary program assignment, basically. And what we create here is also a dangling pointer. So now we have a config account that points to what it thinks is a vote account, but it's actually not, it's just a system account. And if we have a system account for which we can sign, this means we can put anything into that account. And if later on this program doesn't properly check this account correctly again, and just reads data from it directly, for example, then it just quickly leads to bugs. Oops. It's a very good question. Does Solana vote program allow to close the account? I'm actually not sure. It could be, and this would basically lead to the same bug. But yeah, in this case, I just wanted to show the different bug. But yeah, you're right. This could also be an attack that if this account belongs to a program that allows you to close it, then we can also create the kind of dangling pointer. Yeah, I just used vote program as an example because that's a program that I think only has one account type, so we don't have to check discriminators, for example, and that's where this bug happens. All right, so here's bug number 3. So this is a quite interesting story because I actually missed this bug and got notified by the client, hey, that they found it in testing. And then I was like, oh shit, I've never seen this before. And now I look for it every time. But yeah, it's a story I think that for every auditor will happen at some point. And it's important that you learn from it. And in this case, this was a very interesting bug in a lending market, basically. And in this case, we have this liquidation function. And lending markets very heavily rely on liquidation functions working. Because when someone's position goes out of balance, so you have like a $100 deposit and you borrow $50 worth of some token for it, and then your $100 deposit, because it was in some shitcoin or something, goes down in value, then at some point you're gonna get liquidated so that the exchange doesn't, or the lending market doesn't have to pay for your losses. So it's very crucial that this liquidation function works. And in this case here, take a look at what it does. And maybe you can see what happens. I think Ahmed got a very good idea here. What if the positions length is very large? I think I made it a bit too obvious here with the double for loop. Yeah, so basically what happens is if a user happens to have a lot of positions, so they don't just have one deposited token and one borrowed token, but they have like a mixed bag of like 20 different tokens deposited and like 20 different things borrowed, then this double for loop and all these vectors and all these function calls and so on, they do a lot of heap allocations. And actually they do like a exponentially, like O(n) squared complexity heap allocations. So basically, if someone has 2 token positions, we'll have like 4++ allocations. Someone has 10, they'll have 100++ allocations. And basically, what a user can do is they just have a lot of positions, and then when someone tries to liquidate them, the liquidation will fail because the program runs out of memory. And normally that's not so much of an issue. Like if a program runs into heap problems, we can like, if we have a custom heap allocator, we can request an extra heap page and so on. But in liquidation, it's a critical issue basically. So what we have to look out for is in those critical functions, like a liquidation, like something that has to be callable for the protocol to stay alive, basically. These functions are basically critical paths, and they have to be always completable. And you have to be on the lookout that there are no heap issues, not too many heap allocations. So the fix is basically remove all the heap allocations and write more efficient code. It's the code that I showed you was like extremely inefficient. And the Solana heap is actually quite small. Yeah. All right. So now for bug number 4, we have like a kind of trading program where users can create or like makers can create an order. Yeah, an order is what I call it, and takers can take the order. So an order is maybe, hey, I'm willing to buy 1 sol for $200, and then the taker can come in and take that order, provide 1 sol, and receive the $200. And yeah, if the maker isn't happy with their order anymore, they can delete their order. That's about it. Yeah, and takers basically take orders that they like, that they see they like an order, they take it. So yeah, let's see what is the bug here. I'll give you a minute. Mike said, can a maker cancel an order about to be settled? They can. All right, no more takers.
Cambiar those big cows it provoked because they are using the same C generation in the create order and delay order things.
I didn't get it. Can you say it again? I just didn't understand.
Or I mean that if a PDA collision can be caused, because I think they creating the order in the seed of the PDA with the same elements things.
What do you mean by a PDA collision here? I mean, it's the same order.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna got again the correct idea. So yeah, so basically a maker can go and create a very nice looking order, something like, hey, I want to buy 1 sol for $300 right now. The taker sees this order, sends their take order transaction, and just before the taker's transaction lands, the maker deletes their order and then just creates an order at the same order address, because they can just use the same seed that they used before. But now with completely different conditions. Now they are like, hey, I want to buy a sol for $3. And now the taker's transaction lands, and because there's no slippage protection or like a sequence number or something in the take order, the take order just takes whichever order is at this order address, and they will take this order and sell one sold for $3. So yeah, so that's how the bug works. Taker sees a great order, take it right now, and before it lands, the maker just switches them out. So it's like a front running and a bait and switch kind of thing. And the issue here is, yeah, two things that should be fixed. If a taker sends a take order, there should be like a slippage protection. So like something like minimum out. Or there should be like a sequence number for the order specifically. Sorry. So a sequence number means when an order gets created, it gets assigned a unique number, and that the taker can then provide. And then when the order gets deleted and recreated, then there's a different unique number in there. Or we simply shouldn't be able to recreate an order at address that existed before. So there might be like a global counter that counts out of order for each user or something like that. Yeah, so that was bug number 4. Now we have bug number 5. Yeah, in this case, we have like some kind of NFT marketplace. And this NFT marketplace diligently pays its royalty fees to the NFT creator. And the code is very pseudocode here, so bear with me a bit. So basically what it does is when someone buys an NFT on this marketplace, then it enforces that we send some lamports to the original creator of the NFT. And yeah, that's basically how it works. Well, if price is 0, then they get nothing. That's fine, I guess. But yeah, I'm not looking for a math bug here. That's just pseudocode basically. Don't worry about the math. The math is okay. Lamports are gonna be like, anyways, like 1 billion lamports. Oh yeah, that's another issue that was also not intended with the balance from subtracting balance directly from the buyer. That was the AI. I'm sorry about the pseudocode putting extra bugs in there. That shouldn't be there. I think it's sometimes not super clear what I mean. Yeah, crayon buyer, same, also not really the issue. But you have some good ideas, guys. Like, obviously there are some issues that I didn't intend to put in there, and you're finding them, so that's very good. NFT creator is like not the owner of the NFT. It's the creator of the NFT. Yeah, just imagine there is a validation that this is the actual creator. Overflow will not do anything.
Maybe a user can drain the marketplace because they are signing royalty to an account, an NFT creator, and then subtracting the royalty, but they're not reloading the account.
Also not quite right. All right, I think I'm gonna explain what I meant here, because this example seems to be very unclear to my intent. So basically, it's quite sneaky. If you look at the buy NFT constraints, you can see that NFT creator is a system account and mutable. However, I call this over constrained. So what can happen is that the original creator of the NFT takes their creator NFT account and assigns it to another program. For example, they make it a token account. And when that happens, this account is not a system account anymore, and no one will be able to buy an NFT anymore from that collection. So the creator can basically block all future buying of this NFT on this marketplace. And the second issue here is that this original creator is passed as mutable. And we're pushing this fee to them. And the issue here is kind of that that the original creator could deploy a program at their address and their NFT creator address. And as soon as there's a program at this address, the runtime will disallow this address to be passed as mutable to programs. And when this happens, we have the same issue that no one can transfer or buy any NFTs anymore on this marketplace. So basically, when we are paying someone like a third person for transfers, for like fees, for rewards, royalties, whatever, we should be aware that this person who receives these payments, if their account is somehow hard-coded or like configured in the program, and tokens are pushed to them, we should think about ways that they could block these transactions. So they could deploy a program at their address. They could assign their address to another program. If we would have saved like their token address, they could close the token account. So yeah, I mean, this case is basically the idea of being over constrained. Oh yeah, that's the mistake. So NFT creator being a system account is a mistake. I mean, by default, it would be a system account. But here they're over constraining it. I think maybe the issue here is that people are maybe not familiar how NFT royalties exist. So when you create an NFT collection, you can put like a list of accounts into that NFT collection's metadata and say, hey, those are the creators of this collection. So that's the artist who drew all these things. And we want that the artist always gets like a 1% share whenever someone buys an NFT in this collection from someone else. So that's like an NFT royalty. And yeah, and that's basically often prone to bugs if the creator could then make these royalty payments not workable. Yeah. So basically, the idea behind this came partially from a recent OSEC blog post about ways that we can stop Lamport transfers from happening, and I recommend that blog post to everyone, because it often leads to bugs where, yeah, someone could, for example, assign a program to an account and then it can't really receive Lamports anymore because it can't be passed as mutable. All right. No, it's over constrained. It should be account info or unchecked account basically. So it's too constrained because we constrain it. It has to be a system account. We put in like a constraint that might shoot us in the foot. Yeah. Okay, so bug number 6. This is also a bug. When the first time I saw this, or like the first time this happened, I kind of missed it, and then learned later about it. And now I regularly find this issue. And yeah, it's a good issue to know about because it often sneaks through for a lot of auditors. So basically here we again have like some kind of payment or whatever. And here we first pay a protocol fee in Lamports, and then we do a token transfer. And that's kind of it. That's the whole thing. Anyone know about this bug? Yeah, just imagine protocol is the protocols count. That's a standard bug. That's a pseudocode bug here. I'm looking for something else. That's also not what I'm looking for. Mint not being checked is not what I'm looking for. So the issue here is that the token transfer will fail. Always. Even if you try to do it correctly. But I know why. Anyone know why? Okay, so I think we have note takers now, then it's simply something you don't know about. No, it's not transfer check. So the reason it will fail is because of the Lamport transfer before it. If we do a Lamport transfer and then do a CPI afterwards, then we have to ensure that in the CPI afterwards, all accounts that were in the Lamport transfer also are passed, maybe as remaining accounts or like somehow. Because otherwise the runtime will get in and say, hey, there's a balance check issue. How it works is like this. When the whole transaction is entered, the instruction is entered, the runtime will look at all the accounts and sum up all the Lamports in these accounts. And let's say all these accounts have 400 Lamports. In this case, we have the user accounts, the protocol, and the token address of the user and the protocol. First, we do a 10 Lamport transfer from user to protocol. So now the user has 90 Lamports, the protocol has 110 Lamports, and the user token account and the protocol token account still have 100 Lamports. And then afterwards, we try to do this token transfer. And in the token transfer, we pass the token accounts of the user and the protocol, so user TA and prot TA, and we pass the user as the authority, but we don't pass the protocol. So now the runtime sees, okay, user has 90, user TA has 100, and protocol TA has 100. And last time I saw protocol, it had 100. That's what the runtime does. And so it just takes like this last seen value for protocol because it's not passed. And the last seen value is 100 and not 110. So the sound check now produces 390. And it's like, wait a second, 390? It used to be 400. Where did 10 Lamports go? And it's going to throw a runtime bug, basically.
Wait, is this true even for like if that CPI does not require that account?
What do you mean?
Does this transfer, if maybe I mistook this, but the token transfer didn't require the account protocol account, right? So what you're saying is because we changed it, we have to add it as remaining accounts. Is that?
Yes.
It's a requirement on CPI. Is it because like they do the copy or whatever on the runtime for CPIs, or what? Why is this?
Because the runtime simply does this thumb check every time, and it does the thumb check on all the accounts it receives for this CPI call. And if it doesn't receive an account, then it just uses its last known ledger state for that account, basically.
It's very interesting.
So,
I didn't know about this. This is like, I feel like there's a lot of bugs like this then that people run into.
Yeah, I mean, this bug is often then caught in testing because it simply like breaks.
Right, it doesn't work.
But sometimes it's not caught, and then yeah, it's a very sticky bug. Yeah, so basically what happens is when we do the Lamport transfer, we just in the account info in the memory, in the running memory of the account, we have now 90 Lamports in the user. We have 110 in the protocol, and those changes are not on chain. They're not on the ledger. They're still in the memory of the process. And now we do a CPI, and we pass these accounts in the CPI. And for the accounts that we pass, we use the values from memory. So account user has 90 Lamports in memory, TA has 100 for both. And for the account that we didn't pass, we use the value from the ledger, and that's still 100. And so the sum check will basically fail here. I mean, saving the state, there's no saving the state. Like saving the state means finishing the transaction. It's not an anchor reload type of thing. It's a runtime like VM and ledger type of thing. Yeah. Like saving state from memory to the account data. No. So I mean, the solution here is to pass, like the original solution. If you Google for this bug, because it rarely happens, people actually didn't understand what's happening here, and there was this common wisdom that never do a CPI after a lamport transfer. That's how most devs learn that they just don't do a CPI because it won't work. The actual solution is to pass all the accounts that involved in the lamport transfer as additional accounts in the next CPI. Yeah. It is a weird error as well. Like the error message, I think is kind of unclear. But if you Google it, you'll find like a Stack Overflow that explains it a little bit. Like changes are in heap memory, not heap memory, but the changes are in memory. And the account stater still doesn't have those changes applied. Yes. So like in Pinocchio. No, in Pinocchio it happens as well. It's not an anchor issue. It's a Solana general Solana issue. Yeah, latest way to do is lamport transfer at the end of the instruction. Yeah, that's the latest fix and like the general best practice. So you don't have to worry about it. All right, that's kind of it for me, or for those bugs. Here's just a brief idea how you might be able to find bugs like this for yourself. So first of all, don't just know the program, how programs themselves work in depth, but you should also work the environment that they run in. So the runtime, the Solana runtime. You should learn about the constraints that the runtime puts on programs. So, for example, how much, or not necessarily how much, but that there are limits to how much heap a program can use, how much stack a program can use, and how much CU a program can use. And that there are limits to these CPI calls, or like that there are these balance checks. And also for these anchor reload bugs, you should understand like when a program is in memory and when it's in the account info, for example. So yeah, so it's quite important to know how the environment works of where programs are executing it. And the second thing here is like these dangling pointer things where accounts get deleted and so on. To me, it's basically just old concepts from binary heap exploitation. Like you have use after freeze, you have double freeze, dangling pointers, and then you kind of have a pointer to something, then you delete that something and create a new object there, and then try to exploit things like that. Those are like relatively old concepts in program exploitation. And just applying those concepts to Solana exploitation basically leads to those kinds of bugs. Like thinking sometimes about accounts as heap objects. So to me, like I think about accounts on Solana either as heap objects or as files in a file system. So those are like mental models I use there. Yeah, and lastly, just diving deeper and always clicking go to definition for everything. So if there's a some kind of call in Anchor or like in an SDK for Solana, don't just assume you know what it does, but like click into it and see the implementation of it, and always dive deeper. Yeah, and that's kind of it. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them.
Yeah, awesome presentation. Thank you so much. Lots of insights, and I'm really glad to see that a good bunch of r0bre are actively participating and trying to find bugs, actually. So that was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have a few questions. Maybe some of them are going to be more market related. Just curious, what's your opinion overall, since you've been in the Solana security space for quite a while now? How would you see the security market overall is evolving, maybe tooling wise, maybe in a different initiative wise? Like what's your take overall on the Solana security space? Do you feel like there's a big demand for engineers, for security engineers? And yeah, just your observations.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big demand because simply Solana has gotten so much developer attention in the past, say 1 or 2 years, that just naturally with that the demand for security is rising as well. But I see at the same time that this demand is getting matched. Like a lot of people are getting into Solana, and like for example, 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, when I was at Neodyme, it sometimes felt like, yeah, there's like 3 companies doing Solana, and that's about it. And yeah, nowadays it's very different. There's a lot of new people, and yeah, I'm happy to see like a lot of people are contributing the things. A lot of people are building like their little tools and so on. And yeah, I think it's very cool. Okay, Jacob is asking, what kind of tools do you want to see to help developers avoid security issues? See build. It's kind of difficult. Like generally, I think what's helpful is like linters or like a Solana Clippy kind of thing that is able to just flag obvious things.
Is that like
I mean,
a security, like static analysis?
yeah, a lot of issues can, I think, be found quite easily. For example, the last one, like just if you ever have a CPI after a direct Lamport transfer, you should check that the accounts in the CPI are involved in this Lamport transfer or not at all involved in this. So by the way, if none of the accounts from the CPI transfer from the Lamport transfer are in the CPI, CPI should be fine as well. Yeah. So yeah, static analysis tools, I think, but I think it shouldn't be like something too complicated. I think something simple that you can like cargo Clippy run very easily. And the problem typically with static analysis tools is that they give you too much. Like they're gonna like tell you, oh, you have 100 issues or potential issues, and you're like, look at 10 of them, none of them is really an issue, and then you're like, fuck the other 90, I'm not gonna go through that. And maybe there are a couple valid issues in there. Static analysis tools just tend to give you a lot of false positives. Yeah, so that's kind of the issue there, I think. But for other tooling, it's kind of difficult from my side because like I don't use a lot of tools, and not from the perspective of a developer, really. So for me, it's mostly just like running static analysis. And for me, static analysis is also easier to use because I can, I guess, quicker distinguish what output of it is potentially a real issue and what not. And I imagine for dev it's a bit harder. Yeah, I'm personally, what I like is reverse engineering tooling. And I found that it's actually quite useful for a lot of devs that are like trying to integrate with like random dexes and random, yeah, there's all these new secretive AMMs now on Solana that don't publish a lot of information about how the programs work. And I know that a lot of people are trying to reverse engineer and like integrate with them. Yeah, I mean, one of the reverse engineering tools that exist today is sdr.accretion.xyz. And another tool that exists is, for example, the IDL guesser by Sec3. So these kinds of tools I think have been already quite helpful. But I'm not sure how much like security advancement those tools are, but I think they're just helping the ecosystem build more integration, so you can like easier integrate stuff that you couldn't previously. And I guess maybe it also improves security, like if you can find bugs in protocols that are closed source.
Cool. One more question. So this lecture is going to be watched by a good number of engineers who are building apps on Solana and just willing to learn about security. So I wonder, from your perspective as an auditor, how would you describe your ideal client that you would like to work with? Let's say they have a very comprehensive design doc. How would you describe an ideal client so people can, who's watching this lecture and just going to be, they're working on their own code bases, can get ready for an audit more efficiently?
Okay, so I think the very first thing of my favorite client is a client has finished their code. A lot of clients are like still developing during the audit, and that's always a bit annoying because they're pushing things and then you're like, oh man, now I have to redo this code. Yeah, that would be amazing if people lock a code state, and are like a bit more good at planning. Be like, hey, we want to launch not tomorrow, but hey, we want to launch in a month, and we will need an audit. And we don't need the audit like this week or something. So like, yeah, first of all, plan a bit your developing journey. Also be realistic. A lot of clients are like, hey, we want to launch next week. And then we rush to the audit. And then they just end up still developing next week because developing timelines never work out. And then they just end up launching 3 weeks later. And then we're like, why did we rush so hard on this audit? Yeah, so yeah, just planning and so on would be amazing. Second of all, regarding code, normally we just send like a list of things to clients to do on their code before an audit, which involves like, hey, add a couple of comments to your structures, for example. If you have any acronyms in the code, please explain them. If you have like, or like domain specific language. If you have math functions, it would be great if you can add like a comment what you're trying to do in that math function, so we don't have to guess if it's correct or not, but we know what you're trying to do, and then we can check. And yeah, and like just general shit like, hey, please don't use single letter variable names, but like put proper variable names and so on. Yeah, stuff like that. It's what we tell clients to do. But yeah, generally that's about it. Try to write clean, maintainable code.
Cool. Thanks a lot again. Probably just the last word. Yeah, if you could leave security researchers with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, always dig deeper. Like never think you know everything. Never assume you know it unless you've looked at the assembly code at the end of the day. Yeah.
All right, awesome. If we don't have any more questions, I think we can wrap things up here. And yeah, thanks so much for joining. I know it's kind of early for you, but yeah, that was a really productive session. So thanks, Robert.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I have another slide for reaching out. So those are my handles and Accretion handles on our website. Please check them out. And yeah, it was great having you guys. And I'm also very happy with the engagement here, that people were actually looking for issues live. That was very cool. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll coordinate the job posting right after the call, I guess. If you guys feel free to DM me, we'll coordinate that. And then also, this lecture pretty much wraps up the bootcamp 1, the cohort 1. We'll post the lecture recording probably by Monday. And yeah, we have around 70 people now hacking on the Capstone project. So wish them all luck. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next cohort. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.